Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Think Catalyst podcast. We're going to do this one in English. My name is Ricardo Ferraris, and I am the CEO and founder of Think Catalyst with my partner Vivek Kuchibhotla. I am a veteran of the advertising business. I'm a madman with over 3 decades of experience in creative and media agencies, mainly in Latin America, and I'm currently based in Mexico. Vivek, welcome. How are you?
Good morning, Ricardo. Good morning, everyone. I'm Vivek Kuchibhotla. I am also a veteran of the marketing, advertising, and consulting space. I've done projects with over 150 agencies in North and South America and Europe. And yeah, I guess I'm also a madman. Although I think I'm a little bit later than the golden era of madmen. I'm a madman, but I never made madman money. Let me put it like that.
We're going to have a good one today, Vivek. As many of you know, Vivek and I Think Catalyst, one of the things that we do is we help clients and advertisers find agencies. So we do a lot of agency search work and pitches. And one of the things that we see in all pitches is really the first presentation, which is usually credentials. And what we thought we would do today is talk a little bit about credentials because it's very much an underestimated moment in the pitch process. Vivek, you wanna throw in an anecdote there, or
An anecdote, you and I both made our bones on Procter many, many years ago.
hmm,
And there's an old Head and Shoulders tagline, classic, that said, "You'll never get a second chance to make a first impression." And this applies in new business, whether you're a search consultant or whether you're pitching to a prospect in new business, it always applies. And this adage works with credentials as well.
how many
We've
have
seen
we
a
seen?
bunch.
How many have we seen,
We've seen
Vivek?
hundreds, hundreds, hundreds. And there's a huge, huge, huge opportunity to improve.
We've also seen some really good ones, and they can make the whole difference. But what we thought we'd spend this morning on with Vivek is to talk a little bit, what makes or what to think about in terms of when preparing credentials for a pitch. So we have some 5 ideas that we wanted to share with you. Vivek, you want to take the first one?
I'll take the first one.
Yeah.
And this is an important one. For God's sake, take credentials seriously. Don't just go through the motions. Don't just delegate it down to some junior account executive and round up the usual PowerPoint.
Right.
There's reasons for saying this. First of all, unfortunately, a lot of agencies just go through the motions. So there's a huge opportunity precisely because of that for you to stand out. Um, if you make an effort, you do your credentials right, you are going to be the favorite going into the final round of the pitch. If you do them wrong, you're going to be an also ran. And so, and you might not get to the final round of the pitch. And we all know that it's when you're the front runner, when you're the favorite, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But if you're playing catch up, it is really hard
Yeah.
to win. So you want to make sure that you strike first at the credentials phase and move into the next round as the favorite.
You want to
Uh,
mention our experience a couple of years ago? What did the client say after seeing one credentials pitch presentation?
yeah, he basically said, "Let's stop the pitch here and let's award the account after credentials without seeing anything else." He was so taken aback with
Amazing.
with the presentation.
Vivek and I didn't let
But you know, and
Vivek and I didn't let this client do this. But what happened, Vivek?
no, well, and that agency went on to win the pitch.
Right.
So, but I also want to mention another experience we had last year where an agency made such a hash of their credentials. They went on and on and on and were boring that our client, the marketing director, started to look at us. We got the side eye from her saying, what the hell is this? Why are you subjecting me to this?
Right.
And it wasn't our fault. It was the agency's fault,
Right.
but we got the blame for it.
Right.
And that agency, interestingly enough, that agency was the worldwide favored partner of this advertiser, but they made such a mess of it that in this specific country, they were not even considered.
Awful.
It
Just
cuts both ways.
It does.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
let's move on.
and then there's another
go ahead.
reason there, and that is, I mean, inside this is that you may make a great impression with a client now, but then you'll find that he moves to another company and he's a CMO at another company. And should a pitch opportunity come up, he'll remember you and he'll call you and he'll want you in the pitch at least.
Of
So,
course.
you never forget your first girlfriend, right? So some of us don't. Anyways, I mean, you want to be remembered. You want to have a reputation. You want to be remembered. You want to be called again.
The long-term effective advertising.
There you go. There you go. Point number 2, I'll take this one. Every prospect is different. So not necessarily every credential should be the same. You should consider customizing them. One size doesn't necessarily fit them all. So you want to comment on this, Vivek, a bit?
Well, again, the only reason an advertiser hires an agency is to help him solve a specific marketing problem. But every advertiser has a different problem to solve.
Right.
So it's very, very unlikely that one generic set of credentials is going to convince him that you are the agency that's going to solve his particular problem. And just remember that advertisers, when they're looking around for an agency, they're going to see 3, 4, 5 sets of credentials back to back to back to back, basically. So if yours are generic and the next one's generic, it's not going to end well for the agency.
I think one of the things that clients like to see is how you think and how you solve problems. And then you can somewhat tailor make your credentials to give them a sense that you're able to tackle the business problem that he may have and not just present something that is very generic. You can do this with maybe some capabilities, with some processes. Best way to do it is also with some cases as well to show them how a specific problem was understood, an insight, a strategy, and then solved. So,
but all based on at least an educated guess of what his specific challenge is.
yep.
And this is something that agencies struggle with.
Yep.
They don't actually sit down and put on their marketing director hat and try to really understand what this prospect is trying to solve. And they should.
Point 3.
Want me to do it?
Yeah. You do this one.
Okay. All right. Showcase your differences. Don't focus on your similarities. There is a credentials template out there that focuses only on the givens. Every agency has them. It's boring and it reinforces that all agencies are the same. So if your credentials is made up of my planning process, my clients, my case studies, my network, you're doing exactly what your competitors are doing. And oh, by the way, if you don't have a network and you're a local agency, then the pitch becomes those networks don't know this country like I know this country. I'm a local. But then again, that's what all locals say as well. So again, you're just swimming in the same waters as your competitors, and all you're doing is reinforcing the thought in the client's mind that all agencies are the same. So there's no need to stick with some sort of standard template for credentials. Just figure out how to serve up your agency in the best light and how to convince him that you're the agency to solve his problem.
You can actually tell from their faces
Oh,
how they react, you know, and if you
oh,
surprise and delight, they'll put a smile on their face, and you know that they have, you know, you've got something going on with them. So, and if not, you'll see some heads bobbing and them writing on paper or looking at their cell phone or whatever. It's awful.
you know,
It's really awful.
agencies like to this cop out that, well, you can never make a client smile because they're taught not to smile. That's not true.
Yeah.
Generally, they're not smiling because they're bored out of their mind. But if you get them to smile, if you get them to engage, you're doing well. And this is not only credentials. This will be when you're selling creative work as well. It's exactly the same thing. Most clients are humans.
Right.
Not all, but most.
I'll go with the fourth point, and I think it's a little controversial because
Oh, yes.
there's different points of view on this one, and sometimes Vivek and I have a different point of view on this one as well too.
That's a
But
good thing.
yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Generally speaking, you want to avoid giving away any free thinking or serve them up with a golden nugget in the presentation. Agencies tend to do this much more often. And what it really does is a little bit to the point earlier that Vivek mentioned, it reinforces the similarities with agencies and not necessarily being productive. So I don't know if you want to add to this, Vivek.
I always want to add to this. I'm passionate about this one. I'm going to say two things. First of all, the truth of the matter is that the agency doesn't have the time, resources,
Yeah.
or knowledge about this specific client and his business
Right.
to actually find something in the space of 1 week or 2 weeks and to serve it up to a client and impress him by telling him something that he really doesn't know. In my experience, as a client as well, 9 times out of 10, that nugget turns out to be something that is blindingly obvious that the client already knows, and that all you're doing is convincing him that you're actually not as smart as you're trying to bring across that you are.
It's not
So it's
credible either, is it?
counterproductive.
It's not really
It's
credible.
counterproductive. No,
But it's not
but
credible that you can find some, you know, you can find a solution to
you're
a
not.
problem
You're not.
within a couple of weeks, a month that you've been invited to a pitch.
And let me go a step further with an analogy. I like analogies. I'm an analogy man. But no credible expert does this. A doctor doesn't say, as you walk in the door, he doesn't say, well, you know, I've done some thinking about you, and I think you might have a cyst on your lung. Where did that come from?
Right.
I've never, you know, I don't know you. I've never examined you. We've never
Right.
talked. Or the same thing, a lawyer will never tell you, well, you know, before you tell me what your case is, I think you have a poor chance of getting off. That's not what they do. First, they listen and then they give their advice. Agencies should not be giving away any sort of advice or IP. What they should be doing is convincing the prospect that they're smart people that could really help the prospect if and when they're hired.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do. But hey, I keep on pushing water uphill because 9 out of 10 agencies will continue to do to search for the golden nugget. So
As we said, a little bit controversial, but let the
yeah, it's
controversy
frustrating.
continue. All right, I'll go with the, no, sorry, you go with the last one, and then we'll do a summary of.
Okay, and so
Details.
I have mentioned many times in my intro that I've worked with over 150 agencies, and in that the work I did with many agencies was as a presentation skills coach.
Mhm.
And so that brings me to the fifth point. The quality of the presenter will make or break the credentials presentation.
Mhm.
Any presentation skills coach worth his salt will tell you that over 90% of all communication is based on delivery. The words and the PowerPoint matter very little. It's all about how you deliver the content. So instead of working many hours on the PowerPoint, you might want to actually rehearse the presentation and work on the delivery. Make sure that the presenter is delivering the content properly. I think all of us who've worked in this business for any length of time have seen a lot of good ideas, good presentations killed by bad presenters. It happens all too often.
Seduction. You've talked about seduction often
Seduction.
in
This is all about seduction.
presentation, right?
The truth of the matter is that most agencies offer the same services. So it's all about serving it up in a seductive way where you are
Right.
just you're just more enticing than your
Yeah.
competitors. You're more charming. I always say in a presentation, you want to charm the pants off the prospect. It's
Yeah.
absolutely true. I stand by it.
Say something interesting, present it in a very unique way, different, not similar, and seduce them as hell in the presentation. You
Yep,
know,
absolutely.
get your best get your best presenter in front of the prospect, and get get the person who you're going to put on the business ideally, because that client will want to work with that person. So
Many years ago, I did a presentation skills workshop with a creative agency in Los Angeles, and they had a media person in the presentation in the workshop, and he turned out to be a really good presenter. He just had the knack for it, and they made him their designated new business presenter, and they had a lot of success with him because he did it really well. So find your best presenter and let him lose. Makes a big difference.
I'll do a quick summary of the 5 points
Shoot.
for making compelling credentials and considering them as a real first call it a tool and first approach with the client when you first go meet them. And your first strategy, your first successful strategy. One, take them seriously. Don't just go through the motions. Think about it. Review the opportunity that you have in front of you, and find a way to make find a way to win early in the whole process with some great credentials. Two, customize them to your prospect. Not necessarily the same credentials will work with every client. Every client has different needs, different problems to solve, different business issues. If you can find ways to customize a little bit and make the agency look like they have the best option to solve the problem, you'll be in a really good position. Number 3, showcase your differences, not your similarities. How often we see this. Vivek and I call it DBR. Why are you different? Why are you better? Why are you right? Focus on those and not necessarily your similarities, and you will be ahead in the pitch process with your credentials presentation. Number 4, avoid the search for the golden nugget. Don't give any of your thinking away. Give them inklings that you have an approach to solving their problem, but not necessarily give them any idea of any possible solution. It's not credible and it doesn't work. And frankly, it devalues your total offering towards the client as well. And finally, what Vivek was saying, get your best presenter in front of the prospect, do a killer presentation. It often makes or breaks the whole presentation and the opportunity that you have in front of you to get ahead in the pitch process. So creds ideal. I mean, if you're going to win at the beginning with creds, great. It's unlikely, but it does set you up to be in a good position when the pitch as the pitch evolves and goes through. So that's me in terms of the summary. Vivek, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, it's not hard. Improving creds is not hard. It's not expensive. It's completely in your hands. You require no approval. You can do it. And it's one of the highest leverage things you can do to improve your new business hit rate. So really, there's no excuse not to do it.
Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us in our podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's a great topic to discuss, and it never gets old. If you like us, share us. If you have any comments, let us know. Give us a like, give us a share. We always like to hear from our audience. And thank you for joining us. We'll be seeing you soon. Vivek, what do you think? What do you want to
say? I do my little commercial, my little plug at the end. If you are an advertiser who's looking for a new agency or to find a way to work better with your existing agency, get in touch with us. If you're an agency that wants to turbocharge its new business process, retain its your clients, or look for talent, give us a call. Be happy to chat.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you in about 10 days to 2 weeks. Thanks again.
Probably in Spanish this time.
Yes.
Why the hell not?
¿Por qué no?
We'll
Adios.
switch it up. ¿Por qué no?
Thank you, everyone.
Ciao, as they say in Latin America.
Correct. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you soon. Thanks for following us.